Good afternoon and welcome to this panel on inclusion and diversity in the digital companies. My name is Antonio Piemontese, I'm a journalist for Startup Italia. And first of all, I would like to say thank you to our guests and all of you attending to this panel, and especially to Startup Italia and Microsoft for the organization. We're in the middle of CEO's 2020, the biggest event for startup in Italy. You can follow us online. I remember you on our website, www.startupitalia.eu, on our social media channels. Want to introduce first Alessandro Ripane, a brilliant artist and illustrator from Genoa. Alessandro is staying with us all along this panel to enrich the dialogue with some great live drawing. Hello, Alessandro.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing? How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'll do some drawings later.
I heard beautiful, wonderful things about you. So
thank you so much. I'm glad you like it.
Okay. So diversity and inclusion, these are two keywords of our times. The pandemic kept us home, and the only way to cope with this crisis has been to develop social abilities we often forget during normal times. Each and every one of us has experienced some kind of isolation and fear, and that's why kindness and helpfulness, comprehension, respect have been more important than ever in the last year. And well, that's exactly what people with disabilities do all the time, struggling not just with their physical limitations, but against isolation, discrimination, often since from the hiring process and fear. But they have really a lot to offer, and 67% of founders think that diversity improves problem solving in companies. So during one of my interviews last year, the chairman of an association aimed at remove architectural barriers from our cities told me an interesting thing. 80% of disabilities are not immediately visible. It's not only about mobility or blindness, but even, for example, mental disabilities, allergies, or transitory conditions like. So did you know that? If no, it's very impressive. These figures are very impressive. And then we have minorities, which have become a mainstream topic in June and July this year, along with the Black Lives Matter movement. Minorities are often disadvantaged. We all know someone has tried to fix this with quotas, but even if this policy is kind of a controversial one, someone might think, did they hire him just because of the color of his skin or because of her religion? So it's controversial. Last but not least, and that's incredible to say, in 2020, we have gender balance topic, which, let me say, has become mandatory for everyone wishing to be up to date with the present. But sadly, the truth is we're far from being equals in terms of management roles covered by women, as well as in terms of salaries. So let's start. I want to introduce you Leopoldo Mauriello, startup and partner manager at Microsoft for Startup Italy. Leopoldo, it is always good. Leopoldo,
Yes. Hi, everyone.
Okay, now I see you. Okay, Leopoldo, welcome to the panel. Thanks for being with us. And let's start. It's always good to fantasize about a new perfect world, but we have to make it into real. I know that you, with Microsoft, have got a working scheme on this topic, and you are looking for startups aimed at removing social barriers and improving inclusion. So would you like to tell us something more about the scheme and how to get in touch with you? And yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio. Nice to meet you. Hi, everyone. Today, I want to say that it's easy, this topic about business and about startup, because for one time we have the same aim about scaling and find and discover new good company, and company that look in a new way the world and the impact that they have on social, because we have data and we have the process that absolutely tell that startup that works better in this topic, in social impact, have more possibility to scale and to reach the aim. So talking about my role just in a bit, in order to introduce me and to introduce the job that we do in Microsoft for Startups, we have a program, and our program is focused on find the new scale in the innovative solution. So Microsoft for Startups is a very peculiar program because it is a scaling program focused on B2B startups. In next slide, we can see how we do this, because we provide to these startups access technology, but on the other hand, also access to customer. And on next slide, we can see the benefit that we do to these startups. Can you go on this animation? Yeah, and we provide to startup like $120,000 of credit in a standing cloud technology that is Azure platform, and also a lot of benefit that are inclusive of technology assessment in order to scale the stack of the startup and technical solution. But this is just a part of the program. The other part, you can go on, please. Is about business and sales, because the interesting thing in this program is that if we can go in next slide, I can explain better, is that Microsoft is an ecosystem. So this program is very effective because with this stage, we can include the startups in our program, in our ecosystem, and we can scale to Microsoft ecosystem of business. So startup became partner of Microsoft and use technology to scale a solution and sell in global ecosystem of partner and customers. So this is, in a nutshell, what we are doing with startups and what we do with this program. Results are very interesting, because just last year we did like over $1.5 billion of co-deal with startups. So it's a massive program, it's a huge program, and it's very effective for the startups. So next slide, I just want to introduce the topic of today, and this is the answer to your question, Antonio, about diversity, inclusion, and the possibility that startups that work on this topic have with Microsoft for Startups. We don't need to find startups on this topic because we have a moral attitude. Yes, this is also this matter, because we always do a better work, and the culture of Microsoft is really strongly connected with this topic. But there's another reason. And today we want absolutely to show that startups that works closely with this topic are more possibility to scale rapidly. So it's a win-win process. Startups that work closely with this topic scale before than other startups. And if we go to the next slide, we can understand why. This is the perception of founders. Founders discovered definitely that startups that have a diverse team or that work closely with a difference have more creativity, more flexibility, have different point of views to approach business problem solving, so they have more possibility to reach the aim that the market want to the new economy and to digital economy. Next slide, we can also have a concrete data about that. It's about ROI, it's about economy, it's about industry. We are not talking about just good for society. This is the most important thing. But startup that works in that field, they are more successful than other startups. That doesn't work.
And I would like to ask you one question, Leopoldo, and it's economic, it's moral, but I know stakeholders are even making pressure on companies to be more and more inclusive.
Exactly. This is a very good question, Antonio, because we are talking about a market needs. And we know that economy is based on demand and offer. So if the market demands something, company have to offer. So the question that we have to ask ourselves is why we have a poor scenario of this startup in the world that works on this topic, because the process is starting, and probably we are not so ready to jump in, but we as Microsoft can definitely push for this process, and we have less strict criteria with startups that works in solution that works on this topic, but also we look to startups that develop inclusivity and diversity in their organization. This is very important, because if you, yeah, exactly, because if you are ready inside your organization, you are also ready to tell and to develop great product in that field. And I think that we, like Microsoft and like brand culture, we have a responsibility, because technology is very powerful in order to change society, to change our habits. And during this new normal, we have seen also technology completely affect every part of our life, and can improve in a better sense our habits. So we have responsibilities, and the startups that are more innovative than traditional company can definitely help us to make it real.
So for these lucky startups, there will be a lot of free services based on Microsoft technologies, mentorship made by great leaders from the company, sales support, and blog and evidence and promotion. Am I wrong?
No, you are absolutely right, because you have to think that Microsoft is has this particular way to spread the innovation, and this is a distribution model, very innovative, and is on the basis of the Microsoft revolution during these last 10 years, and is about marketplace and upsource. These are two distribution systems that distribute the solution to partner and to customers. So when we bring on board the startups that have innovative SaaS solution, we bring this solution on the marketplace, on this distribution channel, and so a sales specialist, assist the startup and help them to scale the sales all over the world.
So I would like to underline that, especially for Italian startups, that to produce their material in English, to get ready, in order to get ready to be promoted worldwide, because you have the channel, you have the power to do so. So it's better to get ready since from the beginnings. And so, Leopoldo, one last question: how can they get in touch with you? You're the manager of this scheme for Microsoft, so you're in charge of it. How can they reach out to you?
Well, I'm the responsible for the Italian region, but we are a very stunning team. I'm just a little piece of this team that is spread all over the world, and particularly from my perspective in Western Europe. The Microsoft for Startup program is close to open nomination, but works in a very integrated way with a lot of partners. So we have a very great informative website that you can understand. You can just search Microsoft for Startups in the Microsoft domain, and you can find every information you need. You can find also the partner information, and if we can look at the slide, the last slide of presentation, we can find a sum up of link where startup can refer to go information. But we just is that.
So guys, make a screenshot of that.
Yeah. But obviously a lot of startups can contact me directly, and I'm more than happy to provide every information and every way to contact us. Just I want to say and think more, because I'm very happy to want to listen, and I can't wait to listen a career experience like you, Antonio, because we have talked before. Is about the slide before than that. It is about sustainability pillar. Sustainability is one important part of social impact responsibility that Microsoft spread through innovation, and is particularly important for Italy, because our subsidiary, our local region of Microsoft, has developed the Sustainability Alliance, and it is very important in order to scale and find out new solutions that give a great impact on the sustainability, on environment problem. And also in that case, we have to see that the demand of the market is really strong, not just on local, but also on international side. So we want absolutely to push this topic and to achieve the best aim as possible.
So you got an overview of the situation here in Italy. How are we at this regard? Are we at the same level as our, would not say partners, but as the other countries in the European Union or United States, for example, the UK maybe?
Well, you're right, because this is the problem. We have to face this changement in a global perspective, because this is the only way to be impactful.
We have a big gender gap here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have to act in two sides, to be honest. But Microsoft is well connected with this strategy, because we have global aims. For example, on global perspective, Microsoft is a great plan to be carbon negative within 2030, and to be also water positive. So this is the big aim, and we act on global side, but also on European side, because to give an example, we have a program, is the Global Social Entrepreneurship Program, and it is the program focused on sustainability that discovers startups from all over Western Europe, and we definitely share resources from each country that startup can use to scale the business and to give a great impact on society.
Okay, one last question. Must they be big sized to apply for the scheme or not?
Can you give it?
Must they be big already to apply for the scheme, or they can be at the beginning, since it is just the idea that counts?
Okay, I got it. Sorry. Startups have to be in a very peculiar stage to be onboarded in a program, because we are talking about startups that are scale ready. But this not means that startups that are before to this stage can have a relationship with Microsoft, because we focus on this stage because we are very good to enable solutions, SaaS solution. But our partner, we are strongly connected with the partner that provide acceleration program and early stage program in Italy. Our partner manage interesting solution and bring us the solution that are more ready to be scaling.
So you can create a connection. Thanks,
Yeah.
Leopoldo. I'll see you later. Now it's Alessandro. It's your turn now once again. What have you got for us?
Hi everyone again. I made the portraits of Leopoldo, and I took some keywords. Now I'll show you immediately. Well, we talked about many things. Leopoldo is a partner manager at Microsoft for startups, the Italian division of that. They're looking for startups to remove also barriers, and he talked about social impact, about their program, about finding new skills of innovative solution, giving access to startups to technology, and finding new customers. Also, another goal they have is using technology to help finding solution. He also talked about different kind of topics, for example, diversity, inclusion, social responsibilities for getting better companies, and Microsoft is strongly connected with those topics. He also talked about the perception of the startups founders, the companies that should be more inclusive, and he also talked about in the last part of his speech. He talks about the responsibility that technology have the power to change things in a better way, as we have had the chance to saw in this last months with the last coronavirus. In the thing is giving solution to the marketplace and helping finding and assist the startups that are working with them. And he talked also about how to get in touch with him. He take care about only about the Italian regions. And he said that sustainability is very important for Italy. I hope to have made a kind of, I don't know how to say that.
Can I say that I'm very keen of this illustration, because I appear more like a rock star than like a digital manager, and that's awesome. And it gives me the perception that probably I speak less about COVID, but I'm very confident that Margaret can be a very concrete example of how we can face this new normal, this big change. So thanks a lot for this illustration.
You're welcome.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant, Alessandro. And guys, he made it in just 10 minutes. So I warmly suggest you to have a look at his work, Alessandro Ripani, and his website, which is full of great stuff. Okay, so let's move on. I want to introduce our third guest. I want to call Margaret Totten from Macari, a Scottish startup focused on digital technology and its ability to improve inclusion. Welcome, Margaret. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. What's the weather like in Scotland?
It's very snowy. Very snowy.
Barely snowing here as well in Milan. Okay, welcome, Margaret. Thank you for being with us today. I know you have a deeply interesting story. Would you like to share it with us, the story of your company? How was it born, and why did you get to make inclusion and diversity the focus of your business?
Happy to. So I've been a Microsoft partner for about 11 years now, and I've already built and successfully sold one Microsoft startup company which focused on cloud and how we can change the way people work. And a couple of years ago, I was attending a Microsoft event on accessibility, and they were talking a lot about the current statistics, particularly for people with conditions such as autism, dyslexia, etc. And I was really shocked to find out that in the UK, at that point in time, less than 15% of people with autism currently had full-time paid employment. and less than 18% of kids with autism were going on to higher and further education. Now, the reason that hits so close to home is, as well as being a businesswoman, I'm also the mother to a very brilliant, now 14-year-old boy who is high-functioning autistic and also is dyslexic and dysgraphic. And I was struggling to see that connect because I know my son and he is brilliant. And I was thinking, how can you have all these people who are as brilliant as Robert, not in employment and not at university? And I started to realise that technology could break down a lot of the barriers of what they were facing, and thought that's why I want to focus my attention on. Now, I got together with a couple of my colleagues, Kimberly and Lindsay, and thought we could do something that could not only build successful business for us, but could also help change the world with a positive impact. And through that, Akari was born. We all handed our notice in and we started a brand new company, 3 females who had all been working in technology, but it was our first foray as female founders, starting a brand new organization. So we set up a Microsoft Gold partner that does everything you would expect a Microsoft partner to do, but with a digital twist. We try as much as we can to build solutions that focus on digital inclusion, like Teams apps, and we try and work with our customers to not only deliver technology solutions for them, but to get them thinking about how they can encourage inclusion and accessibility as they do so.
Okay, Margaret, yours is an interesting story. You run a digital startup, but as any entrepreneur knows, you must not take anything for granted, success, first of all. So what's the most difficult thing about balancing business opportunities and social responsibilities, in your opinion?
So one of the biggest things we wanted to do was build a successful organization that could give back to society. So there is so many different barriers to entry, and people talk about digital inclusion and they focus very closely on 2 things, on physical disabilities and on neuro difficulties and hidden disabilities. But what they don't focus on is there's other barriers such as cost, such as English as a second language. And we wanted to create an organization that could start to break down those barriers. So one of the barriers people have is cost. So if you're an organization, how do you get started on digital inclusion and accessibility when you then have to factor that into a budget that particularly over this year is now very, very stretched? We were very, very lucky that in our first year of running, we won the Global Award for Microsoft Partner of the Year for Diversity and Inclusion. And we won some really great customers in the back of our challenge and what we were trying to do. And we got so much help from the Microsoft AI for Good and Microsoft Startups that we decided to sort of put our money where our mouth is and create free digital solutions for organizations and individuals that can access help. So we launched our own free product that anyone can use with no cost attached to help build inclusion and accessibility into that. And that's a big challenge, particularly now, more so with what's happened this year and what we're going into next year. The world has changed in such a drastic way that every penny will count for organisations. So we have to make sure that that cost impact doesn't stop people embracing digital inclusion and accessibility.
And do you think, Margaret, that the COVID-19 crisis has toughened the situation for minorities, for disadvantaged people, for in this regard? I know, for example, that people might experience problems even during the hiring process. So how can they cope with that? In your opinion, you're a CEO, so you're very used to make interviews. You've had a lot. So please share with us your experience.
Of course. So one of the things that was shared earlier with the figures is how founders are saying that diversity enhances creativity, etc. And COVID has definitely made life harder, not just for people with disabilities, but for the entire world. But what it has also opened up is an opportunity to change a lot of the things that were wrong. We have embraced home working worldwide in a way that no one has ever done before. You just have to look at the way we now work. And one of the biggest barriers to entry with people with physical and hidden disabilities was they didn't have the capacity to go into an office or a factory and work from set hours. They were blocked from accessing that place of work, and that held them back. COVID has brought its challenges, but it's also brought a unique opportunity that we've never seen before, that we can now start to embrace those people with creativity and innovation, and we can start to bring people that were locked out of the workforce into the workforce. And I think that's one of the biggest pluses that such a challenging year has actually brought us. And also the ability to interview remotely. Again, people struggled. People with hidden disability can struggle to get into an interview. The fact that we're looking at things more uniquely now and realizing that a face-to-face interview is not the only way to test the person's character experience, that we can start to bring people on, we can look at ways to challenge them a different way. I think it has opened up.
Okay, let's get more into
opportunity for, and I think
you got frozen. Sorry, you got frozen. Well, no, it's not your fault. It's the connection, maybe. Maybe it's the snow. So I would like to ask you. Let's make it real. So how can technology improve the possibility for inclusion in businesses, and how did Microsoft help you to do so?
Well, we were really lucky.
Which are the key tools?
We were really lucky to get brought onto Microsoft the For Good program. And as a female founder with 2 female co-directors, although it's now grown, we were really pleased to find that we were one of 3 companies out of the 12 chosen that were female-led. So Microsoft helped us achieve that laser focus. They truly believe in inclusion and accessibility. It's why we partnered with them. And they made us look at what we were trying to do and what we were trying to achieve, and allowed us to actually drill down on how we could properly help people. Without that focus, I don't think we would have come to the conclusion we have. And where we landed at is the way that we can help with technology is, one, we can raise awareness. So, for example, our free app, ADI, a Career Diversity and Inclusion, if you do not have a hidden or situational disability, you can still ask ADI questions. I'm a teacher and I've got a student with dyslexia. How can I help? How can I be an ally? How can I ensure employee well-being? And ADI can help you. And on the reverse, if you are someone with a hidden disability, ADI gives you that confidence and that ability to be independent. When we talk to a lot of kids in the teenage years, aged between 13 to 18, one of their biggest barriers is they feel that they're stupid. They feel they're asking too many questions. They're asking for too much help. So they stop asking and they start to fall down that rabbit hole of not being able to get on because they have really, really unique difficulties that they have to overcome, but they won't ask for help. So using technology like Teams and chatbots and automation allows them to ask for help in a way that they don't feel they're bothering people. They can get access to answers, they can drill down, they can ask as many questions as they want. Even things like in PowerPoint, the ability to use design ideas for people with maybe physical disabilities like MS. Technology can take all of these things. We had a big conversation today with my son about the word disability because people don't like it. He does like it, because it basically means he's unable to do something, and people are unable to do things because of a physical or hidden disability. What technology does is it can break down those barriers and make them able to do the thing they couldn't do before, and that's what changes the game.
Thank you. Leopoldo, I have the reverb. Leopoldo before cited an interesting thing that there is a big growing request from customers for pressure, I would say, for disability policies in startups, in companies in general. So could you confirm this, Margaret?
We're only 18 months old, but in that 18 months, we have grown our revenue by over 400%. We have went from 3 female startups to 30 employees plus, and a bunch of contractors. We've won massive customers, including large public sectors, large retail opportunities. And the reason, or one differentiation between us and other partners when we win these big contracts, is the fact that we put digital inclusion and accessibility at the core, and customers really care about that. Organizations are starting to wake up and realize how important it is to embrace this. So that has not only helped us change and shape the world, but it's given us a direct commercial advantage over other partners.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. I'll see you right back. But first, I would like to call Alessandro once again. Alessandro, where are you? Can you hear me? All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. I'll share my screen. Well, Margaret, she's the managing director from Okari. That there are three women running this business before, because now there are more than 30 employees. Their core is mainly the inclusion, and they fight against the diversity. They fight for the inclusion diversity. Is the focus of their business. For example, the autism, they get really hardly unemployment, so there's no employment for them, and this is a big problem. A lot of
keywords.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to reconstruct all these. They're trying to build solution for digital inclusion, both for organizations and also privates, to destroy the barriers. Also because she said that a huge barrier is the cost, like money is a huge barrier. Also language is a barrier. She also talked about how COVID-19 changed all this, because it made everything much harder, but also gave new opportunities. For example, smart working, working from home, the possibility of disabled people to doing remote interviews. She also talked about Microsoft, how she helped them and how it helped them, and because they share their belief, because they believe in inclusion and accessibility. And lately, people stop asking help because it's really difficult to do that. And technology helps do it in a more comfortable way, so they don't feel. She said stupid. I don't want to speak in that word, but in this way.
So, Margaret, would you hire Alessandro as a portrait maker?
Yes, I think that's great. I think it's not only covers off quickly. I think how quickly you did it.
You did a brilliant job. And just
thank you so much. I'm glad you like it.
I remember to all. So let's move on with a little round table. I'll call back Leopoldo. Okay. Hi, Leopoldo. Just let's have a little round table. I will ask a question to you, and then Margaret can answer, and then to her, and you will answer. So, Leopoldo, let's start with you. How the new normal can negatively impact on inclusion needs. During this pandemic, these issues have been amplified. We got frustrated, every one of us. It has gotten harder to maintain relationships. So, don't you think so? Don't you think that the new normal can be must be we must afford to include people to in order to regain a normal
relation.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, this is a big problem, but I can explain that from another perspective, because one of the skill that Microsoft saw in my CV, in my background, is that I'm an entrepreneur, and I think that more is small the company, and more is a big the problem to maintain relation with the customer, because starting relation is about trustability. And if you don't have possibility to meet people and work the ace in effective way, it's very difficult to start a relation. So it's very important, the role of technology at the moment, and it's very important how we can design solutions that are trustability itself. So trustability is for majority went on the product that we do. So it's more the things that we are doing that the things that we can say at the moment.
Okay, so I will continue with you. Time Magazine today has made a cover saying that 2020 has been the worst year ever, so of all time. So I don't know what you think about it, and then I will forward the question to Margaret. What about the future?
Well, I don't know if we have to say this is the worst year of ever, because we don't know the future. We are positive. I think that the future is better, but we have just to have the habit to take the good that problems and that the changement can give us, because a worst year is also an opportunity. For example, in a normal year, probably it would be very difficult to ask Margaret to join us in this conversation, because Margaret probably has to take flight, has to leave the company. But this new normal has also some positives, some advantages, and that our aim and our responsibility is to not forget when this year and this pandemic time will be past. I hope fast as we can.
And what about you, Margaret?
I think it's been a very challenging year, and we've all been touched by lots of things. I was unfortunate enough to lose a family member to COVID, and so there's a very real sense of loss about what's happened this year. But I do believe it has also opened up opportunity to people that wouldn't have had that opportunity beforehand. And I think it has brought about a much closer sense of community, the ability to join events like this. One of the examples is the yearly conference that Microsoft have for partners, Microsoft Inspire. I've been very lucky that I've attended the last 6 or 7 years. But again, that's a big commitment for partners and for companies, both in costs and time. Having that as a virtual event this year opened up to so many more people. And also, we were on the Startup for Europe, and we the UK EI for Good Startup, and we started in February. So we started before COVID and went and had our in meetings and started to meet all the other companies. Then COVID hit, and we wondered how we would experience that accelerator well virtual, and it actually worked out brilliantly. We ended up developing really close relationship, because I think this year has brought about people making more time for themselves, more time for their own wellness, more time for their families, more time for their business. I think it's made us all take stock. So there's negatives of the year, but there's most definitely positives as well.
Yes, only 20 years ago, all this would have been impossible. We didn't have great connections. So yes, let's just take the best of as we can, and then go on and try to face it. And I would like to give you to ask you another question, Leopoldo. You think that in the digital, you work with Microsoft, which is a very big company. You think digital companies are inclusive in general?
Well, I think there's not a big difference if we analyze the society in terms of markets. Each market has a problem, each market has distortion, and each market has a lot of steps forward to do to reach the inclusion and the diversity. Probably digital market is powerful than other sector in order to improve changement to society. So I just can say that we have more responsibility than other sector, because we can do the difference very faster comparing with other sector.
Okay, great power brings great responsibilities with
exactly.
So, and Margaret, what do you think about it?
I think some organizations definitely are. I think Microsoft are leading the game with it, because they started talking about accessibility and digital inclusion 2 or 3 years ago, is what inspired me to start my own company. But even now, when you look at the policies they put in place, when you look at their commitment to sustainability and as well as digital inclusion, I think a lot of big organizations are definitely getting it right and making this a key focus, and they're leading from the front. And that ability to lead from the front allow other organizations to start take up that mantle, make sure that they're paying attention to it as well.
Are you one of the 67% of founders thinking that diversity may help problem solving in companies?
100%. We're made up from a really diverse group of people. For example, there's very few companies in the IT business that have 3 women at the head, and it's not just 3 anymore. Our business development director is a female, our finance director is a female. Out of our leadership team, it's about 70% female, which is quite unusual. But we also have people within the organizations who think in very different ways. And going what I know, my son is one of the most creative, out-of-the-box thinkers that I've ever met. And he believes his autism is a very, very real part of who he is and how he became that person. So I believe if you lock out people with hidden disabilities, if you lock out people with physical disabilities, you're basically locking yourself out of a massive percentage of the workforce. And why, when you're trying to be the best you can be and be a commercial organization, would you do that to yourself? Why would you lock talent away that you can't access? So we 100% believe that is definitely the case.
Yes, thank you. And don't you think that managers should grow a different set of skills in order to manage this diversity? Because in general, it's not. I don't think we're ready to manage it. We look forward to it, but then when comes a time to make it real, we are not able to manage it.
There's a massive knowledge gap that we do need to build up, and that's where technology again can help. So my son was one of the first people that tested our free box, Edie, and he was asking it questions, and he said, I have dysgraphia, how can you help me? And it started listing the Microsoft tools he could use and what dysgraphia means. And he went, Mum, my teacher didn't even know what dysgraphia means, but this bot knows. So what we have to do is we have to take advantage of training. We have to take advantage of bots like that and applications. We have to skill ourselves up to truly understand it, because the more we understand it, the less the barriers will be. If you don't know what dyslexia actually means to a person, it's not just an inability to spell correctly. That is such a shortening of what dyslexia actually is. The more we understand what it is and how it will challenge ourselves, our employees, or our colleagues, the more we can start to build that. So there's definitely a learning curve, but I think people are taking it up very quickly.
Okay, and thank you, Margaret. And Leopoldo, what do you think managers should do to improve their skills in diversity management? Do you think they're already prepared, or here?
I think they are not completely ready, but this is not a problem just about diversity inclusion. If we see in general this problem, this is about all the soft skills, the skills that people have to do to work that are maybe more important than technical skills. Also because if we design a future when we have AI, we have digital tool, probably people are more important on the human part of the job. So we have to definitely prepare the manager of the future to manage new resources and to help how use at the best human mind, and in the sense AI can help us to free our resources.
Okay, thank you. But I would like you to remember us something about Microsoft's scheme for startup aimed to focusing about inclusion and diversity. You got a program, so for the ones who reached us a few minutes ago, if you can remember us something about it and how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, sure. Microsoft is very keen on find out startups that work on diversity, inclusion, and social responsibility pillars, and we are doing a lot of things to push this on the market. Can I summarize all our speech of today? Is that probably we have to change our mind. Startup focused on inclusion, diversity, and social responsibility are not just for good of the humankind, but it's also because they scale before the other company. You can find in this slide all the contacts for which the program, and we can also a great network with a partner. So if you have a startup that is ready to scale, we are more than happy to know you better and to assess your solution in order to scale within our ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Leopoldo.
Welcome.
And Margaret has experienced being in touch with you, so she can confirm, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say anyone who's thinking about it, definitely do it. We did worry at the very beginning how much of a commitment it was going to be and would it help our business, but we would not be in the position that we are just now if we hadn't went through the AI for Good Microsoft Startup Program. It changed the way we were looking at what we were trying to do, and the help we got from Microsoft and helping support the business and drive our challenge forward has been unbelievable.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
You're welcome.
So, sorry, Leopoldo, you were saying that?
No, I'm just smiling because I'm very happy of this workshop, I have to say.
So I think someone here is gonna pin some drawings to the wall. So I have to call Alessandro back.
Hi again. Actually, I didn't have so much space left, so I couldn't write so much. So the best thing I think is just show the final results of these two portraits. And here you have, there's Margaret's.
Wow.
That's great.
And this is Leopoldo.
Wow, brilliant.
Awesome. I want this definitely. I want to have to do a poster in my room.
It was
You'll
really
have it. We'll have it. We'll send it to you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Pin it at the wall between the guitars and the bass.
Yeah, sure.
This is the reason why
I have one right behind me as well. I cannot show you, but yes, I have one on my own. And yes, so thank you very much to everyone to our guests for being with us, for being so supportive during this panel. I would like to thank you, Alessandro, Leopoldo, Margaret. Margaret, I hope, hopefully you will come and visit us in Milan whenever you want.
100%.
In the next days, in the next months, I suppose. And I would like to thank all the people attending to this panel from their homes. And remember then that we are just in the middle of CEOs 2020, which is the biggest event focused on innovation and startups in Italy. And so let's follow us on our social media channels and on the website www.startupitalia.eu to stay up to date with all our panels and initiatives. So thank you very much again to everyone, and see you next time with CEOs and Startup Italia and Microsoft.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.